Hello, I'm Animor. Today we're going to learn about virtual reality and avatars. While I'm presenting, I really want you to question how you feel about this experience and our interaction. Now, what is virtual reality? Virtual reality is a digital emulation of an external reality. It is defined as the creation and experience of environments. Virtual reality provides the user with the illusion of being present in a real environment. This environment is also known as the virtual world. For example, this program I'm using is tracking my movements, but it does not necessarily copy my behavior 100%. It provides you with a simulation rather than an emulation, as it mimics my movements but doesn't necessarily match it exactly. Kind of like this, as you can see. Now, before we dive deeply into understanding the human avatar interaction, have you ever watched a 3D virtual avatar TED Talk? Yeah, me neither. Shall we set the scene then? Yep, that's more like it. Virtual worlds began as online environments that provide shared experience for a society of users who are primarily engaged in entertainment or social purposes. Users connect with the virtual world by creating an identity through an avatar, just like I'm doing now. Avatars are computer-generated virtual representations of the self. Avatars may take a two-dimensional form as an icon or a 3D-dimensional form as what you're seeing right now. Individuals often have the opportunity to exert varying degrees of control over their avatar. For example, the appearance and behavior. As you can see, I can elicit all kinds of human-like behavior and social interaction, such as blinking, moving my lips, and my hands at the exact same time as my real self. Well, approximate time. So, visual representation, known as avatars, mediate my interaction with you or with other users in some online environment. So, the avatar is the first point of contact. Moving to some interesting facts. Preferred style of avatar creation is linked to the magnitude of self-perceived discrepancies between who we are, who we aspire to be, and who we think we should be. First impressions are created, and the visual representation of oneself constitutes as one ever-present non-verbal component of communication with others. You do have a first impression of me as if I'm a real person, don't you? Today, my avatar self and my real self are dressed the same way. However, the irony is that my real self copied my avatar self. As you understand, individuals tend to be very invested in the avatar creation process, taking time to consider how to select and customize their avatars. Avatar selection and customization is one of the reasons why avatars are so closely related to our identity. Another form of avatar control involves using the avatar by manipulating its actual behavior, changing the way it interacts with the virtual environment and other characters and narrative, like this cool background and music. This form of control can create a close link between the avatar and the user through a process called embodiment. Control strengthens the relationship of the avatar and the self. The psychological closeness can lead individuals to perceive their avatars as an extension of the self, resulting in self-perceptions shifting to align an avatar's characteristics. Thus, the relationship between avatars and their users can be considered to be bidirectional. Individuals can select and craft avatars to communicate identity, and controlling these avatars can ultimately influence identity. Now, moving to some benefits about avatars. Avatars can have social connection functions, self-expression, and even identity exploration. Of course, there is anonymity in the virtual world and the sense of co-presence, which is the feeling that you're in the same space as another person, especially if you're interacting with friends via virtual worlds. How do you feel about using the same avatar for years? Because avatars don't age. Would you use the same avatar after like 30 years? I don't know. I think I wouldn't. Another benefit is that avatars offer the opportunity to represent the actual self, but also test a new virtual self or to experiment with a pseudo identity, which can also increase the feeling of inclusion. An interesting research shows that using avatars can reduce stereotypes by placing a person into the virtual body of another. For example, in this study, when participants were presented in the virtual environment by the body of a senior citizen, negative stereotypes towards the elderly were decreased significantly. Therefore, immersive virtual environments provide the unique opportunity to allow individuals to directly take the perspective of another person and thus may lead to greater reduction in negative stereotypes. There are drawbacks to using avatars though. An avatar may not accurately represent our offline self when it embodies an idealized version of ourselves. Avatars can create the self of self-enhancement, but in the real world this can make you feel insufficient. So you could be attached to your avatar. Also, we should consider that we can create multiple avatars, and this can create the sense that we have multiple identities, which can, in a way, inflate the self. Some people have also reported feeling confusion, cyber sickness, and discomfort when using avatars for hours, especially when using gear such as VR headsets. Despite these drawbacks, the avatar experience is truly fascinating, and I believe using avatars in the virtual world can be a new norm. We could even work in virtual worlds using our avatars or attend conferences, like this one. Is it a matter of generation whether we can adapt to these new changes? I definitely would like to experience more of the virtual world through avatars, always being aware of the risks, since these new ways of social interaction can help us explore our identities through a very fun and creative way. Now let's move back to my virtual messy bedroom. Now, the messy part is during reality too. I would like to thank you for joining today's talk, and I hope you enjoyed this interaction and felt my social presence through my avatar. Till next virtual talk, bye! Bye!